Welcome to Super Simple Security Principles, where you learn how to think about online security, not just which apps to install. I'm Nick Jackson, here to learn along with you from my good buddy and master guardian, Makani Mason. Let's go. This is episode 97. Stop Spam. Review unknown senders. I love the sound of that. Stop spam. Yeah. Let's roll, man. Where are we going to start to stop spam? Do we need to rewind and talk about last week's episode?
Well, very briefly, we're continuing our series on picking an email provider, and we did what I'm calling a macro episode, big picture kind of questions about email providers. So we're back to a micro episode, just a little feature.
Okay.
And it is a feature that, as far as I know, the only email provider that I've found that has it is Fastmail. And specifically, Gmail most definitely doesn't have it. I've looked closely, I've researched online about it, and there's people who've talked about wanting it and things, but and the other few places I've checked are missing. So it might exist out there, but I don't know of anybody that does it.
Okay.
And so, the feature is not called Review Unknown Senders in there, but that's how I use the feature. So we'll get into that. But the feature that I'm talking about is, so when you get email coming in, every email provider lets you have some rules you can make. So it can automatically, block them. It can automatically route them to a specific folder, add a tag in Gmail, mark it spam, forward it, all these different things, right? You've played with, I'm assuming you've played with those a little bit, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. I think most people have. They're pretty accessible. They're not too geeky or weird, and so the feature that I'm talking about is specifically, you have conditions under which the email gets forwarded, if it's from this person or it's to, or if it has this content in the subject or whatever, all these different circumstances under which the email gets affected, right?
Yeah.
And so the feature that I'm talking about is, I want to be able to say, is this email from someone in my contacts list?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I want to be able to do. And that's the feature that I've only found available in Fastmail.
Yeah.
Okay. So this isn't going to be a super long episode, but it's very impactful. It's one of these things, again, that's like, why doesn't everybody offer this?
Right.
Because to me, so let's walk through this, how I would use it, and how, if you have Fastmail, you can use it in a very powerful way. So yeah. So before actually talking about how it works, let's talk about the problem with phishing in email.
Okay.
Because the core reason why phishing in email works is because you get an email that you think you know who it's from, but it's not.
Yeah.
Now, there are various ways this can happen, but the easiest, most common way is simply for everything to look like you're expecting it to be from that person. And people check email on their phone much more often than anywhere else these days. And most email clients on your phone, they don't actually show the total from address, like the actual email address. It just shows like the name that is portrayed and a picture and the content, and you have to actually kind of click through to see what the actual sender email address is. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, because all those other things can be easily faked, faking the actual sender address can happen under some circumstances, but it requires a lot more work these days. It didn't used to, but it requires a lot more work. But because those other things can be faked so easily, the appearance that we mostly pay attention to, that's how a huge amount of email phishing actually gets through and is successful.
Okay.
And so what this filter can do is it can make it So we don't have to, like, it can do the checking for you.
Nice.
It
Nice.
requires a little bit of setup on your part. So you have to, when you get an email from somebody, from say PayPal or Amazon or Facebook or whoever, because the big ones are the ones that get impersonated most often and we fall for, right?
Right.
We have to make sure we set up a contact from them that this is our Facebook contact or this is
Okay.
whatever. And they might
Yeah.
have multiple, and that's part of the complexity. It might change over time, so you have to pay attention to that. So there's a little bit of complexity, and so actually implementing this takes a little bit of work. I will
Yeah.
acknowledge that. But if you do it, then what that means is you could have a rule that just says any email that comes from somebody who's not in my contacts goes to this separate review inbox.
Okay.
And then that when you have that, then you pay extra attention to that. And if it's coming from somebody that you're like, oh, wait, I get email from these people all the time,
Right.
then you can actually say, okay, I need to look closer at the actual sender email address and see if it's somebody trying to fish me or if it's
Mm.
just a new legitimate email address from that person.
Yeah.
Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
absolutely. Yeah, makes total sense.
And so, I mean, it's not the most ideal. Like, I'd love to have that built in. I'd wish people didn't have to even do this sort of thing. And
Yeah.
so, there's tools I want to help build to make this easier. And so that's in the works too. But for now, like, if you have Fastmail or if you want to take advantage of this one tiny little feature that any email provider could add very easily. It's not like it's greatly complex, um,
Right.
but it could make a huge difference in defeating email phishing just by itself.
Yeah. That's
And
awesome.
so, yeah, it's kind of crazy to me that there's all these things like this that we don't have and we don't use.
Yeah. And they just require a few extra steps, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
That's not bad.
yeah. So
Maybe we
that
need an episode on some of those few extra steps.
yeah, well, it's the sort of thing where I think like a video screen, like a screencast where you're actually walking through doing a video
Yeah.
is probably what you want for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely want to do that, and that's something too that will probably cover in the email workshop as well. I mean, we'll cover in the email workshop, but like I said, so these are all tools where I mean, I want to teach everybody the free techniques, but what I also want to do is build a tool that, I mean, maybe will be free too. We'll have to see if we can make it work, but that will help automate this.
Yeah. That would be awesome. That would be awesome. That's what everybody wants. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to click around and fumble around through. We want an automated tool.
Yeah. Well, and so so my stages, my grand vision for this is, so the first is we'll just kind of teach people about this. They can do it
Yeah.
themselves. Maybe get a walkthrough. That would be a better step. Have building a tool that to even make it a little bit more smoother and guided. And then my last step is we'll build an email system that builds it all in totally from the beginning in a much better way where you don't even, anyway. So that's the stages,
Nice.
because we
Nice.
we we want to make sure we don't get email from people that we don't know
Right.
without explicitly allowing it. That's kind of the high level thing, and we do have a little bit of control over that even now.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's perfect because for me, if I can share my takeaway,
yeah, please.
I don't want to talk to you if I don't know you. Like, it's that simple.
Yeah,
Like, I am very much a private person. If I don't know you, don't call me, don't email me. I don't want to talk to you.
Especially if you're trying to scam me or fish me.
Exactly. That's my whole point. That's my whole point. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked it. That's a good episode. Let's get on
Okay.
this automation. Woo.
Yeah. Amen. I know. I'm excited to do it, man. So much.
Yeah. What about you? What was your takeaway?
Oh, I think, I guess to recap it is just this one tiny feature I feel like could make such a huge difference in email phishing. I feel like too much of the time there's nothing we can do even now. I mean, even though I want to build the much better solution, like if there are things we can do now.
Yeah. Awesome.
So, but most people don't even know about the existence of it because most people aren't using Fastmail; they're using Gmail.
Right. Right.
Hence my campaign.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a good episode.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Are you ready to take action and wondering where to start? Get my Bulletproof My Identity Starter Kit for free. The 7 most vital layers of protection everyone needs. I'll send you one step at a time and help you if you get stuck. Just go to bulletproofmyid.com and enter your name and email, and I will send you the first step. Again, that's bulletproofmyid.com.